Hi everyone, Ted Wyman here at IG Field for the Winnipeg Sun. This is the site of the Banjo Bowl on Saturday between the Winnipeg-Bluebombers and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'm with Murray McCormick of the Regina Leader-Post. The two of us were covering the Bluebombers and the Roughriders last week in the Labor Day Classic. Not a surprise in the final result there as the Riders won again. But what do you see for these two teams coming into this game?
I kind of see the Riders building on the momentum they may have gained from that last 3 minutes and 18 seconds with Cody Fajardo. They didn't do much up to that point, but then Cody Fajardo led them on a drive for the ages. Ron Lancaster-esque, Kerry Joseph-esque in the Labor Day Classic. That I think people are not being overlooked, but that was a pretty effective drive. I don't know if the credit goes to the Riders or the blame goes on the Blue Bombers defense, because all they needed was a stop. And we have a whole different atmosphere for this game. They couldn't get the stop. Stephen McAdoo, the offensive coordinator of Regina and Rough Riders, been criticized a lot last year for vanilla offense. Had a great drive put together. So I kind of think the Riders are going to build on that, and I think they may carry some momentum in here. But we also know, and you'll tell us, what's the record in the Blue Bombers in the Banjo Bowl?
Well, the Bombers are 8-7 in the Banjo Bowl,
Yes.
which is not really, it pales in comparison to the 14-1 that the Rough Riders are in the Labor Day Classic over the same period of time. But here in Winnipeg, the issue this week has been the defense really wanting to come back and redeem itself for that last drive that the Riders were able to put together. The defense actually held the Riders to 39 yards of offense and 2 first downs in the second half up until that moment. And really, they can't believe that they gave that up. And that was after Chris Streveler, who's a backup quarterback for the Bombers and starting in place of Matt Nichols, overcame what had been a very tough start and brought the team back and got them the lead. And then they would have bet the house that they would be able to stop the Riders from their own 5-yard line. They weren't able to do it, and you have to give the Riders some credit for executing.
87 yards. That was a great drive. I know there's many moments in that drive that I figured that 7-yard pass from their 5-yard line to Kyran Moore got him out of their goalpost and it spread open their offense. And then the Riders had some pretty key free agent signings in the offseason. One of them was William Powell. William Powell didn't do much in that game, except in that drive. I think he had 4 or 5 carries. He had 2 back-to-back 11-yard carries that set up the field goal. So the Riders, and I kind of mentioned this to the Riders had a really successful offseason in terms of free agents, and they're all coming through. We have Cody Fajardo, Solomon Aluminium, William Powell, Micah Johnson, not as much, not the sack numbers, but he's doing a lot on the defensive line. You don't really see it, but so I think they're gaining from that, and I think these guys are veterans, and they're going to come into the Banjo Bowl, which is such a cool environment, such a different environment, but it's not going to overwhelm these guys. And I think the Riders, veterans, these free agents other than Cody, we're really going to step up for them.
Well, it's a very, very big game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They
3 varies.
It's true, but they literally are in a situation where if they win this game, they're going to have a 4-point lead ahead of the Riders in first place in the Western Conference, Western Division. And if they lose this game, the Riders are technically going to be in first place because they will have won the season series. The two teams will be tied, and they've got all the momentum. I just think this is the biggest game of the year for the Bombers, as big as they can get at this time of the season. And they got to do it with Chris Streveler at quarterback. They got to do it with Andrew Harris at running back. But I will say this, or not at running back, of course, and Johnny Augustine starting at running back. But I will say this, I think the Bombers did better in Regina last week than people expected of them, and I think with their home crowd, they believe they can turn the tables.
Well, I mean, we talked about last going to Labor Day, looking back, Harris wasn't there, Nichols wasn't there, and that stuff. I kept telling people, the Bombers have a great defense, and other than that 3 minutes and 18 seconds where a better offense at the time beat them, this kind of couldn't forget about that great defense, and that's what showed up, and that's what I think keeps this game a lot more even than I think it's going to be. The Riders have, I think it's 5 of their next 8 games are on the road. This is when they start a pretty tough stretch. They've had a home-friendly summer, which they try to do because I think they get better crowds in the summer than stuff, and the weather's a little better, but sorry. So they have a tough stretch on the road, and now this is a chance for them to maybe get going and start that momentum there. They're carrying a 6-game winning streak into this, which is hard to do in the CFL. Doesn't matter if these teams have a combined horrible records, they still beat the team in front of them, and they've shown that ability. So this is another test for Cody Fajardo. He passed the last one, and it's good to see what he's going to step up to do here in an environment that's going to be totally hostile. And people don't realize how noisy it is here. You guys do. We sit up in the press box and we can tell them I may get people in Regina saying things, but it's the noisiest stadium in the league. I think the way it's all configured and stuff, that for a quarterback like Cody, it's going to be a tough challenge for him to deal with that noise.
Yeah, and the Bomber defense certainly likes to think that it is the loudest and that it will be an advantage for them coming into this game. And another advantage for the Bombers is that they're going to have Willie Jefferson on their side this time. Last year at this time, Willie Jefferson killed the Bombers with a big interception that he ran for a touchdown. Anyway, Murray, thank you very much for being here today, and enjoy the game tomorrow. For Murray McCormick, I'm Ted Wyman at IG Field.